I'd like to, because I thought it was best to have the representatives from the Guam Preservation Trust share with us information about the Atantano Heritage Preserve. With that, we want to connect that to something I think we've talked about as a MPC and as a village regarding a fiesta on May 3rd. So understanding this and what we want to do for May 3rd, could there be a connection? I can see that there could be a connection. But let's hear what they have to say about the Heritage Preserve, and then we can discuss the fiesta after that. And because it is a public meeting and it was announced as an agenda item, I would like to really discuss that after this. Okay? And so actually, maybe I'll turn it over to Joe Kanata, and then he can tell us.
So he's going to present before the meeting?
Oh no, this will be, it'll just be this type of meeting. We're not gonna go through an actual agenda. This is the only agenda item. If we had GRP, then we would make it would be a different story.
Because the meeting was scheduled for 6, and I thought the presentation was
You wanna wait till
at
7?
7. No, but I thought that was the
No.
announcement.
No, that's not the
That was
answer.
a previous.
You're a different organization.
I must be. My apologies.
You're in the wrong group.
Joe Kanata, he can tell us about all the stuff that he does. Also, he came to visit me, and I think, it was a great visit, and I think you need to know about it so that we can be informed and we can move forward together. Joe, I'll turn it over.
Okay, thank you.
Do you do it? We do need it because of the recording.
For those of you who, first of all, this is Masik of the day. This is Masik from Nakamizu. I know that the mayor had scheduled us to be here to talk to you about something that is in your backyard, which is the Atantano Preserve. And the Atantano Preserve is partly part of the PB municipality. And so we wanted to make sure that that going forward that you are aware of the Atantano Heritage Reserve. So I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Joe Kanata, the Chief Program Officer of the Guam Preservation Trust. And also to my left is Dietrich or Ulukola, Tahulungsuk, and he is the Program Officer. He is also in charge, we got him in to be in charge of the Atantano project. But I wanted to talk about the history first of why the Guam Preservation Trust is here and why we're going to talk about Atantano. And it all started several years ago, in fact, in 2014. And this is the time when Shell, the Shell gas station, the Shell company, well, they were leaving Guam. And when they decided to leave Guam, the first thing they needed to do, any business, any corporation, or any organization, or even your family, when you decide to leave Guam, you want to divest. You want to sell or get rid of the stuff that you have. And so Shell company had a huge property, and that was Atantano. It is 74 hectares. It's huge. And it sits right smack in the middle of an industrial zone. And for those of you who are aware of or know the old Gorko, the oil, the fuel tanks, it sits right smack in the middle between the fuel tank, the concrete industrial folks, and then you have Pizza Hut and Payless. So it's that valley there. And we have with you the brochure, and it's actually in the map. There's a map there. And so Shell company decided that they needed to get rid of it. They tried to sell the property, but it's not something that a lot of folks wanted to buy because the property actually is a really great property for us because there's a river that runs through it. A lot of corporations don't want rivers. You know, it's very difficult to develop in an area where you have um, wetlands. Uh, but the Guam Preservation Trust was eager to take it. The Guam Preservation Trust actually was they did a search and wanted to know who would best benefit from it. And the Guam Preservation Trust was chosen. So we were happy to receive it. Um, and you know, initially we wanted to make it a preserve, and it's still going to be a heritage preserve. Uh, and we've been trying to look at different sort of different angles, different areas. We went in, did trails. We had small programs that took people into the property to really showcase what Guam looked like in the jungle, basically. Uh, and we work with different organizations. We work with the University of Guam. We work with UCLA. We work with even Take Care Foundation that gave us some monies to get interns in, and it was 6 ladies actually answered the call to blaze a trail into Atantano. So we did that in a couple months. We have a trail that goes in. Uh, it doesn't go throughout the property, but it goes at least almost 2 miles in, or over a mile, I would say, into the property. Atantano has many different habitats uh, because of its location itself. And so just recently, we decided the Guam Preservation Trust Board decided to come up with a master plan on how we're going to be able to use the property as a preserve. You know, saying a heritage preserve is kind of broad. Uh, and there are different players that deal with heritage preserve. First, you have your um, your cultural resources, and there are settlements, there are Lati sites that are there, um, and then you have the environmental part, the conservation part. And there are, we've already found some rare plants that are located in there. There are a lot of plants that are there that uh, some of you may recognize as we go into the site. Um, Lots of wild pigs. Um, there are deers, hunters go in there once in a while. Uh, but most importantly, we want to engage with the community of PT. We want to engage with you so that we can really find out what what do you want to see in a heritage preserve. What do you feel that we should do in a heritage preserve? What do you feel that we should take away? If there's anything there that you want to take away or to add on. There are other groups that say that let's add rare plants, more rare plants in there. There are groups that say, well, you know, there are a lot of invasive species that are there. That perhaps maybe we can take that away. Um, and then there are other folks that say we want to be able to locate the Lati sites so that we can be able to preserve them, you know, and perhaps use it as a learning tool for our students, for our people, you know. And then there are some folks that say, well, let's take some visitors in there and let's showcase, you know, our heritage. Um, there are so many ideas. There's one idea that came up that maybe we should build like several lansus so that people can experience the lansu. we can be able to develop so that they can be able to have a small parcel to farm and perhaps maybe sell or subsistence for their family, those kinds of ideas. And we want to engage with you so that we can learn more of what PT community want to do. This property is your property. It's in your municipality. What I meant was that the Guam Preservation Trust is not going to sell this property. We're not going to build any hotel or anything. It's going to be a heritage preserve. And in order for the heritage preserve to be sustainable, it needs to be supported by the community. We need to make this heritage preserve so almost like a learning center for our community, a learning center for our kids, a learning center for higher learning. The University of Guam has been in there several times. They've proposed to do a couple of projects in terms of rare plants. And so that's why we're here tonight to engage with you. And I'd like to also invite Ulukoa to say something about his role here with Atantano.
Sijus Masi for welcoming us to your village here. And my name is Dietrich John Ulukoa Duhai Lansad. My family say I proudly say I'm also a Manibusan. And when you folks were all talking, I was telling Joe here, I'm so happy to be here. I'm part Chamorro, but I'm born and raised in Hawaii. And when I saw everybody talking like that, I was like, this feels like my village back home. But it's a nice feeling. So we're really happy that we're really happy and looking forward to be able to collaborate with you all. Guam Preservation Trust, what we're doing here is something unique. Maybe you can count on one hand where big landowners, usually if they go to the community, they just want to see, are they for it or against it? Usually they have their plans, and if they're against it, they kind of fix it up. In this case, we actually want to work with you. We actually want your ideas as part of the process. We want this to be a living place that involves you every step of the way in whatever form we can think of, So we're really proud that we're leading the way, in this regard. Our master plan is based on, we're working with the Nature Conservancy to come up with this plan. And they looked at something that was working really well in Australia, where they're looking at the targets, like what are yours? So we're kind of trying to see how that plan would work here. And besides having all these heads of government agencies and organizations, maybe there's a way, that's why we're talking to the mayor, if you all could maybe send a representative to gather all your ideas, and then, we can sit at the table with us and say, as we're discussing the savannah, say, oh, well, people in the village were saying this about the savannah. Oh, kind of bounce ideas. If we talk about, that, like Joe said, the latte sets, then, this is what, came up, rather than trying to track so many emails, or sending it to the mayor, something like that. But we'll work it out. Maybe we can figure out some way that'll work out, that we can go back and forth. Things like outplanting, where we're working with the University Center for Island Sustainability, coming out to plant some endangered plants. We could tell your contact person, hey, they're gonna be out here September 5. Anybody in the community wants to come out, and in the village wants to come out and help us, and then they can get the word out and everybody can come out. Maybe you're gonna be celebrating Santa Cruz, and your person wants to tell us, and we can, somehow coordinate something, be a part of it too. So It's going to be organic. We'll work it out as we go forward and see what is the best way possible. I think that's about it. Uh, this 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 handout, if you notice, it'll say that this Atantano shows that it's been settled since the Lati period, but in all actuality, there's a really good possibility that this place was settled from way before the Lati period. The Lati period started in the year 1000 AD. And as you know, Chamorros, our ancestors, have been here since about 1500 BC. So there are some sites that we're not too sure of that it could be, this could really be some place that's really preserving a lot more than just 1000 AD. In addition, as we know, the El Camino Real, the rural road, government road that went from Hagatna down to Humatak, right? It went through the swamp. There is a total of, depends on which version you read, there's a total of 15 or 16 bridges, wooden bridges that they created to go over the swamp. And we believe that we may have found some of those remnants, because it's like some of these laddie stones, they don't have the tops. They don't have the tassa. It's like, oh, well, maybe because the bridges were made on cement pole, stone posts. So there's a lot of things that, remain to be unlocked. We've also found endangered snails, unofficially, but we're going to do an official. We have an official plant survey. We're going to be looking for the animals, and then we're going to do a full archaeological survey. So there's a lot of things to be unlocked. Yes, ma'am.
So the bridge, I'm just yelling so that the bridge that you're talking about and the road, could that be connected to why the Santa Cruz shrine was erected and why we celebrate that fiesta there? Because there's an inscription right at the shrine that talks about the completion of the roadway.
Yeah.
And so I guess that it would be to see if there is a connection there that we can share with the council to further promote the celebration of the Santa Cruz fiesta on May 3rd.
Yeah. But I also know that I'm going to pass this mic over, but when the shrine was completed, it was to mark the completion of the roadway of the major construction, and so it appears a section. It's called the Atantano Causeway. That part that winds as a horseshoe through the swamp. It appears that the Atantano Shrine is one side of that. And then after that, there's 16 bridges somewhat, right? And then the end part ends up near the Ablazzo River, just on the other side. That's the last part that's the 16th or 15th bridge. And then it continues on to the road to Hagat. And another thing I found really interesting was that the fort right outside off of the shore that used to be partly on that island, do you folks know what the name of that was? That was Fort Santa Cruz.
Oh.
So it's interesting that little fort there that the Spaniards built in 1820, whatever, forgive me on the date. I do have the date somewhere written. But they've built that fort and they named it Santa Cruz. And then when they finished the road, they named it Santa Cruz. So it's interesting how there's that connection of somebody wanted to honor Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Thank you. I know that that shrine again is connected. I was going to say it was connected to the fort, but the road itself, again, with like Ulukoy said, was the El Camino Real. They did talk about, because the shrine itself is registered in historic places, and they did talk about how, when we talk about the road and how it leads all the way to Hagat, I always have to think about my dad. My dad's from Humatek, and so they would walk all the way to Hagat where the where that Spanish bridge is. And so they'll walk all the way there, get a jeepney, catch a jeepney to take it all the way to Hagatna. But even before that, they would use they would use the boat to sail from Hagat all the way to where that fort is. This is during the Spanish period, and that's how they would go in to take everything up to Hagatna, where the palace is, where the governor sits. And so the governor, so the shrine there was also it was built also not only for the road, but it was built for people that were traveling from the south or traveling to the south, and they would stop there to pray or really because when you travel by foot, and then during those days you travel by foot, and the travel was long. Um, as my dad would tell me. Um, and if he was alive today, he would be 120 years old. Um, and so he told me a lot of the stories between the road from Hagat all the way to Hagatnya. He went to school in Hagatnya, and so he had to travel. He went through the uh, the shrine, the Atantano shrine. Um, But I wanted to sort of impress, and it's in your brochure that there are three main things that we really look at and try to make those three main, I call them overarching goals or mission. One of them, the first one was education, and the first one was research and development, and that's exactly what we're doing at this moment. Currently is that we're doing some research work. We had just did release a request for proposal to conduct a plant inventory at Atantano, and we also have a RFP out that is going to look at doing a cultural resource inventory and as well as a cultural impact assessment for the property. So our first step really is looking at research and development, uh, engaging with you guys, trying to figure out what is it you want to do so that we can be able to sort of develop it into a true heritage preserve. The second one was education and outreach. And so based on everything that we did with research and development, that actually sort of drives the education and outreach uh, uh, goals. And then from that education and outreach, then we get into the enterprise. And when we say the enterprise, it's really it's the engine that sustains, it's the engine that sustains Atantano. And whether it be the enterprise, whether it be grant writing, whether it be having a private partner to build restrooms, to build the infrastructure there so that we can be able to invite people in. They're going to also have to take the lion's share of whatever enterprise, whatever profits that are made from there. So it's a huge operation, and we're just starting out right now with the research and development part. We've done a little bit education and outreach just to get a feel of what is it that is relevant to our people today. Um, but I wanted to invite you to the place. I wanted you to it's a fairly, I would say it's a uh, medium site visit. Um, there's
Medium
no-
hike.
Yeah, there's no there are no cliffs. There are no. It's a really beautiful place. You don't have to complete the whole visit, but you can actually go as far in and get so much out of it. It is a very beautiful place, and the trail actually goes along the river, so you're able to see the river as we go.
Starts at the shrine.
area?
No,
Track?
it starts where the road into the Borco or the oil
Yeah.
factory. So you go into that road, and right when you pass that bridge, that's where we start.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Joe, I don't know how many of the council members really know about Atantano, maybe or very little knowledge of Atantano. So a lot of this might even, they still might be confused as to what all this is, but I think it's important for them to know, because that is kind of our issue, is that we don't know, right? And so when we talk about education as well, I know that when I met with Udko earlier, one of the things that we've talked about, and we know we did it as a council at one point, many years ago, several years ago, because I only been here for 5 years. So several years ago, we talked about revitalizing the Santa Cruz Fiesta on May 3rd. And traditionally, in the past, it was the De Gracia and Naputi, I believe, families from Telefofo that really spearheaded all of that. But I believe the matriarch has passed away, and so they have not really done anything for the last several years. We were supposed to begin in May 2020, but COVID came, so those plans were scrapped. But we're hoping to do something this year to bring more attention to Atantano, at least through the fiesta, at the very beginning. And so what we're doing here, we could certainly bring to the fiesta on May 3rd. So May 3rd, I know you guys are staring at me backwards, I'm sorry. So May 3rd is, it's a Tuesday, and I feel like we can do the novena, the 9 nights novena there at the shrine, and then have the mass and have dinner. But at the same time, we could do more of this type of presentation, some pictures, entertainment. We definitely can bring out some older people that know of the area. I want to disclose that my family, the Alex side, did a lot of things at Atantano, so we can certainly invite them. Most of them have passed away, but I know, at least my relatives, the older ones that are still alive, still remember what went on over there. And so we can start at least by doing that. And because we had already planned to do that in 2019 or 2020, I think it's time now that we would do it. It's safe enough now to plan for this year. So it'll be the 9 nights there, or the 9 nights, all of it, everything will happen over at the shrine. But I think if we make it, and I hate to use the word marketing, but I think we should market it in a way where we bring attention back to Atantano, and whether you're from PD or not, come and share your story. And whether it's any of those 9 nights, or if it's on May 3rd, which is the actual, which will be the last day, then we can do a whole, program there. One of the things that my family has shared, it's okay too. One of the things that my family has shared was that my great grandmother and her siblings always took care of played a lot of games and had a lot of prizes. So we could probably take that into consideration and do something that night. It's a Tuesday night, but who sleeps early, right? So I mean, it's stuff we can talk about, and how we want to make this. I think this is our chance to really shine in a different way. I mean, by understanding more about this preserve that's rich in history, rich in culture, and perpetuating something that was started, right? And the novena. Then there might be some questions. Why is it that you're celebrating May 3rd, Santa Cruz, when in the church the Feast of the Holy Cross is in September? But that may not answer that question, because I did ask the question. I asked the question, and the answer was, I'm gonna forget.
I think I know.
You know the answer.
I think I know.
So the church, the Catholic Church, does not celebrate the Feast of the Holy Cross on May 3rd anymore. I think that's what it is, and it's transferred to September. but it's, go ahead.
Wait, oh, actually,
I have to
thought
think
it was
about
still
that.
on the May 3rd because that's
Oh, yeah.
when the Queen Helena found the cross, right?
Okay, so no, it is that. That is
Okay.
the real thing, but I think it was old. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak, but I know that um, the feast was transferred to September. But the old people, the old time, celebrated May 3rd, and so in the homes, May 3rd was still celebrated as Santa Cruz. And so I think for our purposes, I don't see a reason why it's bad. And if the Archbishop allows us to celebrate the Feast of the Holy Cross, then so be it, right? But I haven't yet asked permission because
we have
that's
to
the
ask
feast of,
permission?
yeah, because it's a major feast day. It's, I forgot what the feast day is. I think it's Apostles. It's an Apostles feast day. So I have to check because we would need, permission to change that feast. But regardless of that, the mass will still be the same. The novena will be prayed though. Um, right, the 90s, yes.
Hasn't in the past, there was a family who hosted the novena. And then, people from our village would attend that.
Correct.
Is that family still around? Or-
And yeah, it's weird. I mentioned that the family was from Telefofo
Yeah.
and the mom passed away. Yeah.
Will we be working with them?
Of course, yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we know that they haven't done it in many years now since I've been there. Yeah. So that's at least 5 years, 6 years, going on 6 years. Well, you do? Oh, okay.
Holly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then there we go. So that's the kind of conversation we want to have because when you talk, and then when Joe mentions enterprise, everyone's face is not excited until you hear the word enterprise. So perhaps that's what's gonna make us excited about some kind of enterprise at Atantano. But I'm just happy that GPT is allowing us to be a part of the process because we don't, it is their property, but it's in PT. So how are we a part of this reserve? But and what it for me that's important because it kind of mirrors what we want to do what I'm thinking would be best at USO, right? Instead of it being high rise, all this stuff, it's science, it's tourism, it's environmentally friendly, right? Culturally sensitive. And so the same with the Atantano Preserve, it could certainly be that way.
Sure.
That's right. Go ahead.
You mentioned a master plan. Who are the parties involved in that? Has that been developed? Do you have an outline as to that master plan?
So there is a master plan that is going to look at everything from the environmental part of it to the cultural resource part of it. But the master plan is also going to have what you call in all the plans, you have a business plan. And that business plan is going to be developed after everybody has done their input so that the business plan is going to say, okay, if we're going to be able to do all of these things, this is how much it's going to cost. If we're going to be able to get a private partner in here, then these are all of the items that we're going to have to negotiate with these private partners. And so the master plan that we're starting right now really just looks at the property itself. Where can we, the first thing we need to do in a property is to find out where everything is at. We don't want to say, okay, we want to build a restroom here and then find out that, oh, well, there's a rare snail there or there's rare plants that are right around there. So we want to be able to know, to get to know all of that. And the master plan is going to spell that out for every meter of the property itself. What plants are where, what cultural resources, whether they be lati or matati or even shards that are around there, where are they located at, so that we want to be able to plan well, and make these resources, the natural resources and cultural resources, really be part of the whole Atantano Preserve. So if we're going to develop some land to programs, you know, we probably would build the land to programs at this area because it used to be farmland. In fact, one of the we had just had a conversation with one of the families that used to farm down there, and we're going to have more conversations with the other families, and we're looking at the Santoses, the Limtiacos, that used to own the property and used to farm there, and we want to engage with them. We want to be able to find out exactly what was going on, so that if there was a farmland on certain areas, perhaps maybe we can build the lantos there. Those are the kind of things that we need to know in a master plan as well as in a business plan. So part of that master plan also is going to look at the infrastructure of this. We're going to, if you do build a trail going in, what type of trail are we going to build? Is it just a walking trail, or we're going to have a trail that is going to be accessible? The trail will be accessible for people that are handicapped, people that you have a boardwalk that goes all the way in there, that you can push people in there. Those kind of things are in that master plan.
So show this master plan, perhaps I just want to add on to Faye's comment or question, but how are we going to be able to be a part of the master plan? Are there other entities a part of the master plan? Creating the master plan?
Yeah, so the entities that are actually helping us create the master plans are the government agencies that deal with the different issues that we're going to have to deal with later on. Think people like the Department of Agriculture, the University of Guam. Those are the people that have the expertise in their agency, sort of to give us whether it be natural resources, to give us their expert on where these are going, what is really good to complement these areas. There'll be some folks in the cultural side that are going to say, archaeologists, for instance, are going to say, after they've done the cultural resource inventory, they're going to tell us, well, these are all the areas that we shouldn't disturb.
So I have a question. Do we want to take a site visit? Do we want to go take a hike?
Yeah. Is it trail?
Are there any objections? Okay, then can we set a date? Can we do it tonight?
No.
Can we set the date tonight?
Oh.
I know, only because, we're here, I don't have to wait on WhatsApp, right? We can figure a date now. Are we, gentlemen, what dates and times are you available? Are you amenable to a weekend?
We can go really.
Do you guys go on the weekdays?
Do you prefer a weekend or a weekday?
Is there a lot of mosquitoes?
Serious, no.
What time of day, morning or
The
morning?
best time would be morning.
Yes,
Like
morning.
about 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
All morning.
morning.
I do.
Okay, so I know that in our group, okay, maybe we should, so in our group, I know that maybe Saturday mornings might not be a good day, Sundays, what day is a good day? There's no good day. Saturday, how early would you anticipate?
And how long?
So
That's
So
the big one.
it's we can start at 8, and it's not going to take more than an hour and a half.
2 hours.
2 hours, let's say 2 hours.
For breakfast.
We're going to take it slowly. We're not going to hike it.
Not
Okay.
the entire,
We're just going to explore.
and you can show us the different major areas where the laddie are, the botanical
We'll show you
gardens.
the different plants that are there, the medicinal plants, where the river is, and all of that stuff. And
Field trip.
What is comfortable for you on a weekend?
Sunday.
And what time? Because sometimes you wake up later on a weekend, right? What is comfortable for you on
8 a.m.
No.
8 a.m.
When you get our age, earlier is okay, like 7:30 or something. 7:30.
8:30.
So 8 o'clock is okay, I think. Is 8 o'clock a good time? Well,
we can do a meet time at 8 o'clock and a go time at 8:30.
no, mga masama na. 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so we can meet at 8.
8 o'clock.
And go at 8.
So what date? Are we doing a Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know. I don't know, can it be this Saturday?
No.
No. The 9th is our Easter egg hunt. I'm sorry that we are doing it then, but I don't want to do it during Holy Week. On the 16th, 23rd is better for us, for the three of us, I think. April.
I'm sorry, the 16th is Easter, right?
No, 16th is that's.
The 30th.
Oh, the 30th.
30th. That's
What's the 30th?
April
It's
30th.
Saturday.
May
Saturday. It's the last day of the month.
Well, so the Novena is going to start April 25th.
Oh,
23rd.
Well, it's only for 2 hours, so.
Okay.
23rd.
Or do we want to do a Sunday?
23rd. Sunday's hard.
You can't do Sunday, right?
Are we walking
What if we
the
did a week?
23rd.
What's wrong with
Nobody
23rd?
can do a weekday at all, like absolutely.
Yeah, 23.
Who cannot can we do a weekday if we planned in advance? What if we plan, come on, Jen.
I don't want it. This is hard because it's the end of the school year right now. We're doing a
We'll
lot of
take
testing.
When's your Easter break?
Just take pictures and I'll be
Winter
like,
Easter
okay.
When's your Easter break?
Easter break is, April,
Oh my
11th
gosh.
through the 15th. He said this is.
11th?
Yeah, that's Holy Week.
3 days?
That's Holy
So
Week
right there,
already.
April 15th, Friday.
Well, we're not gonna be yelling.
Sure now.
What about Monday, April 11?
Okay, I'm available that week because I'm off.
I'm good, April 11th.
Okay, I just saw someone squirm.
Wait, April 11th in the morning.
Who's
I have-
Monday's not.
What about the 12th? April 12th. What about Tuesday, April 12th in the morning, 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Tuesday, April 12th?
April 12th, okay.
Yeah.
Jeff can't do Monday,
I
Tuesday.
can't do Monday, Tuesday.
You can do Wednesday.
Huh?
Oh, I don't want to do
I
Wednesday.
can't do Wednesday. I have a class.
Man, you people
Okay,
are-
then
Morning
Monday.
and
I'll figure something out.
We're at.
Okay, so the problem with Monday is I heard more than one cannot be on Monday. Can we do Tuesday?
I heard they can't do Tuesdays, Monday and Tuesday.
Who can't do Monday?
Well, What if we did, is there another day? Okay, can we just take a look at it and let's go end the live?
We can do it, we can do 2 days. What, people that can make it on Monday, and people that can make it
How about we're a group?
Yeah, we all.
Okay, let's go, can we all? Okay, I'm gonna ask if everyone can just consider it and so we can kind of wrap this up and then we can talk more when we're done. So, okay, doing that site visit, I think is important for us. And then we can move from there. What I would like to do is to tie this presentation at Atantano. And so because it will be something that is gonna be sponsored by the office, I would like for it to kind of be in conjunction or maybe in partnership with GPT. So that if there are things like this that you can bring out, we can make it a big, we can certainly make it a big deal over there. So if we go to the shrine itself, there's not a lot of parking, right? And there's not a lot of, there's a nice area, but there's not a lot of parking. So we're certainly gonna have to reconfigure a lot of what that's gonna look like for May 3rd and perhaps close off a lane, an outside lane for parking. And lighting, of course, we're gonna have to add everything, lighting, power, and all of that. And so I'll see what we can do on our end to, it'll happen for sure, but we're gonna need support. So we'll have subsequent meetings. What I'm thinking, and I'm asking you to help me think about it, is if those 9 nights could be something similar to consider your Nabena Nino in a big family, right? So in the modern big family, there's always something after each night, you know, right? Refreshments of some sort. Back then, way back then, they didn't have too much, right? It was what, cookies and something. But if we consider something to that extent of like a Nabena Nino celebration, could we make each night, no, not a fiesta, but could we do something for the 9 nights? Or is it important, right? Or we just say the Nabena there and let it go, right? So that's what I'm asking for everyone to consider. So we can just the goal is education, right? To bring more people there to ask about why this, why here, why now.
And then on the final night, we could have a fiesta dinner.
Correct. On the final night, we certainly we'll certainly have a fiesta.
So you made it just one day event? What did you say, 9 nights? So it's 1 night?
Nabena,
nights before the
I'm so
third?
sorry, not everyone's can.
Yeah.
9 nights. The Nabena, that's not, so Santa Cruz is the Holy Cross. So the Nabena, the novena to the Holy Cross begins April 25 and it'll end May 3rd.
So do we go to that site every days?
Well, of course, that's the hope, right? That's the hope that for this year, at least, the council will be more active in that, in promoting.
Something every night, like, the whole night.
That's what we're trying to, that's what I'm bringing out. That's what I'm talking about, right? So do we think it's important or can we do it? Right now, I'm thinking, okay, well, Owen, can we take all of the street that he lives in and can we come there on the 25th? Joe, can we bring your family and your cousins and can we come on the 26th? Not just you, but you plus all of us. And then Auntie Faye, can you live on that one street, can you bring that entire street and come on the 29th? And Lillian, you have all the people there and the people from Talofofo, can you bring them on the 30th? Deb, don't let me tell you that you have all, you know what I'm saying? So, oh no, I'm thinking big because we're thinking education, right? It's not just about gathering, it's about education. So we want them to wonder why we're here and not what we're here.
I don't know, I'm thinking, right, like saying education, but you're gonna go to the Nabena at night. It's not much that you want them to visualize what they're, you know what I'm saying?
Come there on the first night and come on the last night.
No, but I mean like
The
the
time of day.
daytime,
Can't see.
especially the younger generation will be able
They
to
will
visualize
understand.
what we're talking about, you know, when they look into the jungle and say, you know what, I don't know, that's just my.
Well, even on the 3rd, right, they're not gonna be able to look out because it'll be already dark.
Yes.
But I think, and that's fair, right? What I would like to it really is just promoting Atantano and sharing the information, right? So however we can do that, however you think is gonna best work, that's what we're here to talk about. That's what I would like to talk to you guys
I
about.
remember you went in that far, I thought the shrine was Atantano.
Right, but that's where a lot of people think it just ends there, but it doesn't.
I didn't know that the Santa Cruz Fiesta that I never attended though, was behind that roadway restaurant.
Yeah, that's the shrine,
That's where the shrine is.
correct.
But Atantano
Beyond that,
was way over by Gorko.
all the way,
It's
the
all
same,
connected,
the
right?
entire area.
Oh.
Because the stream comes like that and turns that way to go to Akron.
Got it.
Yeah, part of the entire area.
Yep, the entire area.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
huge
big.
area.
Almost
So that's that bridge there.
That's how
Yeah,
it's
all the way up to
part
the
of
gas
it.
station, right? Traffic light almost.
Okay, so I just want to ask, are there any more questions for them regarding the preserve itself? Okay,
Is
Mike?
there any connection with the Guam State Historical Preservation Office with you guys? Is there any connection that you guys are working with them?
Yeah, okay, so the Guam Preservation Trust is a public, a nonprofit public corporation.
That's you
And,
guys.
right, and the state historic sort of enforcement for cultural resources. Um,
Keyword, sort
and so they have a review board that is the same as the trust board. So we do, that's the connection we have with them. A lot of the things that they do, we also do, but we do much more because they're mostly regulatory. And we're the fun organization.
The doers.
Fun and the fund. They're the fun and the fun.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's the difference. But we're all with the same mission.
So you guys don't need to clear anything with them regarding what you guys are doing?
Yeah, we do have to clear things with them, especially when it deals with
Just part of
cultural resources like the lattes and any excavation or anything that we're going to do around that area. Then we need to consult with them. Yeah. But just as a regulatory body.
So
But
that
what
is-
we do, I mean, as far as educational, we can be able to help. We do have some exhibit boards that we've done before with Atantano. We can do other more educational exhibit boards that we can do, and people that come to the Nomadic can still avail themselves with that. But we can definitely can help out with that.
Any other questions about the preserve?
Are these photos from the base now?
No, so those are sort of like a vision photo that we want to vision. That's
That's what I figured.
Yeah. those are we call stock photos.
Yes.
Stuff that you buy in the internet so you can make it look good.
Yes.
Just
for our visual.
Okay, for the,
I
okay,
just,
right.
I just got two things. So the RFP that Joe was talking about is a request for proposal where we're asking, someone, can you do the plant inventory? So one of the requests for proposal is the archaeological resources inventory. That's when someone's going to go through all 73 hectares and map out everything that's there. And then the other one that we have that Joe mentioned is the cultural impact assessment. And I'm mentioning that because this is where we can get more collaboration with you all. Part of the cultural impact assessment is talking to the community and seeing and hearing your stories of what you recall from Atantano, And so that will be like a formal thing where we sit down, we talk, we write it out, and you look it over and say, yeah, you got it right, or can you switch it up a little? Okay, that looks good, and that's going to be part of the record of it all. So maybe somehow, some way, we can contact you whenever the company that's going to be doing the cultural impact assessment, and then we can find out who of you and others in the village want to be a part to share your Atantano stories. And then the other thing is that we also have a community-based cultural heritage management course, and we do have some people from PD that'll be a part of it, right? And that's all about looking at Atantano and other places in PD and how you could be an active part of that. For example, the Lansu. We're gonna have a Lansu. You might say, well, we thought, that we do rice, and it's how are we gonna do that? So you're gonna have somebody from your community from your village that says, okay, let's, we can kind of rotate people to take care of it or whatever. However which way, but that's going to be the collaboration. And so going back to what we said in the beginning and your question, Auntie, about the working together for the master plan, if maybe you can figure out how we can get the communication across that when we have a meeting to further develop the master plan, and perhaps you want to send somebody representing everyone here to share your thoughts, and then we can give back what we discussed and share with you, and we can go back and forth. That would be a nice way to include your voices along with the agencies.
Yes, please, if you could, like you always do, include me in the email and I can share it with them. And I don't always have to be the representative. One of them certainly can be, or however many wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, ideally, if you could pick pick a person that, gonna be like, let's say we're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna talk about the plans, and then we tell you it's gonna be April 25th, right? And then mayor gets the word out and somebody says, okay, I can go there. Between you folks, you can say, hey, we're gonna be talking about the plans. What are you guys' thoughts and and then you can come over and then you can, and then whatever we talk about there, then you can share back with everyone else. And if the next meeting,
Thank you, Nicole. Anyone else have any questions about the preserve itself? Don't stand up yet.
Oh, right,
Okay, great.
one of the pictures that shows a cafe, is that in existence already?
No, that's the,
Oh, that's what you were talking
master
about.
plan, master
Master
plan.
plan vision.
Yes.
The vision, okay, got it. So
Okay.
none of these are
It looks
real
real,
now.
right?
I know. Wow. You guys are way ahead of us.
Thank you, Joe and Nicole. We appreciate it.
Thank
We're gonna
you.
just go ahead and end that live. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
we have extra if you want to share with.
So do you see what I'm saying about this, the